capital Berlin at the Stadion an der Alten Försterei, which is the home, of course, of Union Berlin. And the visitors today here are none other than the table toppers, Bayern Munich. Can Union Berlin become the first team this season to beat Bayern? As usual, we'll be keeping you up to date with all the Bundesliga's African players. I'm Alex Sisto. Stay tuned for all the action. Now, as you know, the Bundesliga has kicked off its 63rd season, and there was a big game last night between Werder Bremen and Wolfsburg. And what a thriller that was. The result was a 2-1 win for Werder Bremen. And we're happy to say that Victor Boniface got the assist for a very, very late winner for Werder Bremen, scored by Bangula. So 2-1 there, Werder Bremen beating Wolfsburg. Tough result for Wolfsburg to take. They led for a very long time, and they conceded a very, very late winner. But Boniface was there, and Mangula scored the winning goal. I think it's safe to say that at the moment, Bayern Munich are the strongest and most informed team in Europe, especially after that dramatic 2-1 win in the Champions League, which some of you might have seen against PSG, Paris Saint-Germain in Paris on Tuesday. Now, what about the hosts? Well, the hosts, Union Berlin, they're in a mid-table position, and anything other than a convincing Bayern Munich win today will be nothing short of a sensation here. Union in reasonably good form. They've made it 3 straight home games without defeat in the Bundesliga, with that 0-0 draw against Freiburg last weekend. And I guess Union Berlin's main aim today is to keep the scoreline down as much as possible against Harry Kane, Luis Diaz and Michael Olise. However, don't forget that they got a point on the 15th of March against Bayern. That's for the 4th time since gaining promotion in 2019. 4 draws there for Union against Bayern Munich, and Hollerbach was the man who got the goal to get that draw. He's now at Mainz, of course. So can Union Berlin become the very first team to slay the Bayern Dragon this season? Now, Bayern, they've never lost to Union in their 12 Bundesliga encounters. Can Union use their physicality, which they certainly have? Can they use it to their advantage today? The team sheets are in, and let's take a look at the lineups. Let me first give you the home side, Union Berlin. In goal, Frederick Runo. They're playing with a back 3, Danilo Dürki, Leopold Querfeld and Diego Leite. Now, Querfeld is a young Austrian defender, and he'll be up against Harry Kane. So let's see. I'm sure he's looking forward to that challenge, young Leopold Querfeld in central defence there. In midfield, they've got Yannick Haberer and Tom Rothe in the wide positions, Rani Khedira in the defensive midfield. In front of him are Andras Schäfer, the Hungarian midfielder, and Aljosha Kemlein. And the strikers for Union Berlin are Ilyas Anza, he's a German Ghanaian, and Scotsman Oliver Burke. So it's a new look side for Union Berlin, but everybody was expecting that after that strenuous game in Paris, where Bayern had to play the second half with 10 men after Luis Diaz was sent off, of course, everybody was expecting Vincent Kompany to field a B team like he did last week against Leverkusen, but no way. He fields his A team. And let me give you Bayern Munich's A team. In goal, of course, Manuel Neuer. The back 4, Konrad Laimer, Dayot Upamecano and Jonathan Tah are the central defenders, and Josip Stanisic is the left back. In midfield, the holding midfield players are Joshua Kimmich and Leon Goretzka. And up front, now that is a really awe-inspiring attack. Michael Olise on the right, Serge Gnabry in the middle, and Luis Diaz, sent off in Paris, suspended for that game against Arsenal in a few weeks' time, but he's certainly here today. And up front, everybody was expecting Nicholas Jackson, but no, Vincent Kompany said, I am going for the A-team, and Harry Kane is, of course, the centre forward. So let's see what's going to happen. Bayern in their dark away strip, playing from right to left, and Union Berlin in their customary red strip defending the goal away to our left. Let me tell you who the referee today is. It's 35-year-old lawyer, Dr. Florian Exner from Siegen in North Rhine-Westphalia. This is his 35th Bundesliga game. Now, one fun fact is that Siegen, the town where Exner comes from, Siegen's twin city is Berlin. So will the ref have a soft spot maybe for Union? I doubt it, because he's a very serious lawyer, Dr. Florian Exner. So let's see. Oliver Burke and Ilias Ansar, the strikers, and they'll possibly tire the Bayern Munich defence, because don't forget, they must be exhausted after that second half in Paris, where they took quite a pummeling, but they managed to keep the scoreline at 2-1. And no sign of tiredness, though, because Dayot Upamecano and Jonathan Tah are arguably the best centre-back pairing in the business at the moment. Vincent Kompany pointing out before the game that he fielded a B-side surprisingly against Leverkusen last week, and many of these players didn't play. So he says he thinks he's quite sure that they're fit enough to face Union Berlin. So we've got a free kick to the home side, Union Berlin. Over on the left-hand side, it's going to be taken by Yannick Haberer, the man with the number 19 on his back. Haberer aiming for the penalty box. In it comes, but it's cleared by Goretzka. It's a loud crowd here. We've got the drums beating as usual, making a lot of noise. And the atmosphere is usually very good and noisy. And the opposition, Union Berlin, they usually make it very difficult for any visiting side here. But the visiting side today are Bayern Munich. Manuel Neuer with a long ball downfield, trying to pick out Stanisic, and he finds Jonathan Tah, and he'll find Upamecano back to Neuer. Now, talking about Upamecano, we read that eventually Real Madrid might be interested in signing the French defender. Liverpool possibly too. So Bayern will have to, shall we say, open up the money bags if they want to convince Upamecano to stay at Bayern Munich. Here's Jonathan Tah. Let me just tell you quickly, there's some feud that's been going on for some years between Jonathan Tah and the Union Berlin supporters. They keep booing him when he's on the ball. It's because of something he said about them years ago, and that's why they keep whistling and booing when Jonathan Tah's on the ball. I think that's completely ridiculous because it's so old, and it's just ridiculous to keep booing a player for something he's supposed to have said years ago about the Union Berlin supporters. But they didn't forget it. Free kick to Bayern Munich. Leon Goretzka is the only change. This is largely an unchanged side from the team that beat PSG 2-1 narrowly there in Paris. Goretzka is the only player coming into that side for Pavlovic. Here's Luis Diaz, the man who had a memorable game in Paris. He scored both Bayern's goals and he got sent off all in the first half. And Bayern were forced to defend for the second 45 minutes. And a sturdy performance by Manuel Neuer kept PSG at bay. But we have to say, of course, PSG were without plenty of their top players. Dembele went off injured. Then, of course, Hakimi went off injured after that, challenged by Luis Diaz, which saw him red-carded. So they were without Hakimi and they were without Dembele for the second half. And before the game, of course, Desiree Doué was injured in the league game. Desiree Doué, one of PSG's best players. So we have to say that they were down without three of their top players there. But it was still a brilliant first half performance, shall we say, by Bayern Munich. Tom Wharton with a throw-in. He's the player on the left-hand side for Union Berlin, former Borussia Dortmund player, long ball forward. Just listen to that crowd. It's going to be like this all through the game. Bayern Munich, the visitors here in Berlin, Köpenick, which is in the east of the city. And let's see what Union Berlin can do to Bayern. Jonathan Tah with a long ball trying to pick out Michael Olise, and it's headed forward by Diego Leite, who's on the ball, the Portuguese player who's been here at Berlin for a very long time. Let's see if their strikers can trouble the Bayern Munich back four, Dayot Upamecano and Jonathan Tah. They're up against Oliver Burke and Ilyas Ansar, the German Ghanaian. Let's see what they can do. The ball played back to Neuer, and he finds Tah, and he plays it quickly back to Neuer. So we'll just have to wait and see what Union Berlin can do. They look confident in these opening minutes, and here's Serge Gnabry. Gnabry, who got an assist for Luis Diaz's first goal in Paris with a wonderful back heel, Serge Gnabry, and he's in really good form. This is Lima, who's having the season of his life, Konrad Lima. They call him one of the best fullbacks in the business. Here's Jonathan Tah, as the whistles will tell you. Quite ridiculous in my view. Kimmich plays it back to Upamecano in the centre circle. He steps it forward to Goretzka. Back to Upamecano. This is Bayern Munich. Long spell of possession, of course, from Bayern. And here's Upamecano on the ball. Patient build-up. We've seen this time and time again by the champions. 33 German titles they've won, Bayern Munich. But here's an opportunity for the home side to go forward. This is Yannick Haberer. And the shot took a deflection there off Jonathan Tah. And it's going to be a corner to the home side. And the noise is absolutely tremendous in Berlin, in the Stadion an der Alten Försterei. That's a mouthful. But will Union Berlin be a mouthful for Bayern Munich today? It's a corner to the home side. Going to be taken from the right with all the red and white flags behind Manuel Neuer's goal. Well, he's seen it all before. Bayern just not get perturbed here. The ball played in. Oh, that was a good clearance, though, by Goretzka. The ball picked up by Luis Diaz. Good ball forward, but Harry Kane concedes possession, much to the amusement of the crowd here. Opportunity here for Ansar getting to the ball a second too late. And the ball coming off a Bayern Munich defender there from Tom Waters. Attempt to get a shot at Neuer, and it's going to be a corner to Union Berlin. That's the second corner in a few minutes. If Ansar had got hold of that ball, that would have been really dangerous for Manuel Neuer, the Bayern Munich goal. It's going to be a corner to the home side. Beautiful weather, sunshine, perfect weather, cool, perfect weather for football, as we see the red and white of Union Berlin supporters jumping up and down behind that goal. They're going to make as much noise as possible. In comes the corner, headed across. Rothe heads it back, and would you believe it? They take the lead through Ilyas Ansar, the German Ghanaian, who's becoming a real star this season in the Bundesliga. 1-0 Union Berlin. And the little stadium here explodes. Ilyas Ansar, the scorer. Bayern Munich made to pay for dilly-dallying and hanging around in the penalty area, not clearing the ball. It was a good corner. It was headed across by Leite, and in came Rothe, and he headed across again to Querfeld, and Querfeld headed across again, and there was Ansar with a firm header, placed it past Manuel Neuer. 1-0 Union Berlin. What a game we've got on our hands early on. 7 minutes gone here, and Union, the home side, 1-0 up. And of course, Bouba, Jalloh is on the mic with me today. You must have enjoyed that goal, Bouba.
That is an exciting news that Union Berlin, who would have thought that the mighty Bayern are down at this particular point in time. 10 minutes into the game, Bayern are down 1-0, Union Berlin. Well, it's something it's something that was expected, because Union is obviously a defending
I'm afraid
side.
they're looking at that goal now. Was he offside? Was Ansar offside? It's a VAR decision. VAR is not my friend. He's going across to look at the monitor, and he's going to...
Nach Ansicht der Bilder liegt eine Abseitsposition.
It's offside. So disappointing.
That is so disappointing.
It was offside. Answer was offside. Just an inch. Now that's a shame, Bouba.
That is a mighty shame for Union Berlin. But actually, it's a warning sign that Union Berlin is sending to mighty Bayern that says, you are the biggest right now, maybe across Europe, but you've got your work cut out for you here in Berlin today.
They did concede after all, and that was a very lucky escape for Bayern that offside decision was given in Bayern's favour. Ansar just half an inch offside there as the ball was headed back across the box. And, well, that's a shame because that would have given us some game here.
That would have been really interesting way to start this match day 10 here of the Bundesliga, right from Germany's capital, Berlin.
Bayern Munich looking a little bit perturbed and not able to keep the ball in possession and trying to play their way out of danger. Goretzka hoofs it forward and Berlin looking the fitter side, and that's no surprise because of all the energy that Bayern Munich must have given out in Paris in that narrow 2-1 victory. But don't forget, they were down to 10 and they had to play the whole of the second half with 10 players, Bayern Munich. So how much do you think that'll affect Bayern's performance today, Bouba?
It does affect Bayern a lot, but just a bit, you know. The thing is, Bayern, the team has a depth right now, and they're good at rotating. It shows that Winter Company's rotation has been working. We have to just see how this continues.
Yeah, don't forget he fielded the B side last week against Leverkusen, and that surprised so many people. And what surprised so many people too was the ease with which the B side dispatched Bayer Leverkusen. And then, of course, when he brought on in the second half, when he brought on his substitutes, it was amazing because on came Harry Kane and Michael Olise and Luis Diaz, and that was 275 million worth of substitutes coming on. That was a Bundesliga record last week, 275 million worth of substitutes coming on there, million euros, of course. And that was something that we've never seen before, about the ease with which Bayern beat one of the better teams in the Bundesliga, Leverkusen. That was amazing.
That was amazing, but actually, in the Bundesliga, that is a record amount of money. But in the English Premier League, it's not. If you think of how much Liverpool spent, which is over £400 million, that is like a chicken change for the English Premier League.
Very true. And there's a big match at the Tottenham Stadium. It was thriller. It's between Tottenham and Manchester United, and the game finishing 2-2 there, the early kickoff in the Premier League. Tottenham 2, Manchester United 2. And, of course, Sunday evening sees the really big one there, Manchester City against Liverpool that Sunday night. And we just hope Florian Wirtz will get his first goal for Liverpool soon. But he's been playing well, but he hasn't scored yet. Here come Union Berlin, not deterred by that harsh decision, and there's been a goal in the game between Hoffenheim and Leipzig, and it's Leipzig, the team in form. Jan Diamonde, the man in form there, the Ivorian, getting a goal once more. Jan Diamonde putting Leipzig 1-0 up in Hoffenheim. Hoffenheim 0, Leipzig 1, and the man from the Ivory Coast who's just broken into the Ivorian national side, again with an excellent performance. We saw him last week.
Against Stuttgart,
he was really good.
He was the man of the match, right? And he got a goal. And this is the young star at the Bundesliga right now. Jan Diamonde from Ivory Coast is actually making a name for himself.
And there's been another goal. Leverkusen 1-0 up against Heidenheim, and Patrick Schick, the man who got the winner against Benfica Lisbon in the Champions League, he's put Leverkusen 1-0 up there. It's a free kick there after a foul on Ansar, and it's a yellow card for Konrad Laimer. Well, Bouba, I have the impression Bayern Munich might be a little bit more tired than they'd like to admit, because that second half in Paris was definitely exhausting for them.
Extremely. After that game, Kimmich was actually interviewed, and he said after the first half, he nearly collapsed.
He nearly
He
collapsed.
thought he was going to collapse right after that first half.
Yeah, and he said he looked at the clock and he was shocked to see that only 25 minutes had passed and he was already so exhausted.
But you have to say, Bayern gave it their all.
The first half, world-class. Second half, showed lots of character.
They did. Box to box, man to man.
Haberer with a free kick, headed away there. I think Bayern Munich have woken up now. That was a warning, and they are, of course, very happy that that goal was offside. Quite a few players of African descent, of course, in both squads. We've got Stanley Nsoki, he's French-Congolese. Derek Kern, who played last week, he's German-Ghanaian. And Oluwaseun Bemodia, he's a German-Nigerian for Union Berlin. And on the pitch, of course, Ilyas Ansar, he's German-Ghanaian. And Bayern, of course, they've got quite a few players of African descent. Wisdom Mike, the young German-Nigerian, he's not on the bench today, though, but we'll certainly keep an eye on Wisdom Mike. Nicholas Jackson, the Senegalese international, he's a substitute today. 24 caps for Senegal, 7 Bundesliga appearances and 1 goal. He scored also a couple in the Champions League, Nicholas Jackson, and he's on the bench today, of course. Then we hope to soon see Alphonso Davies back. He's the Canadian born in Ghana to Liberian parents. Upamecano, of course, very much on the pitch from Guinea-Bissau. Serge Gnabry on the pitch. He's German-Ghanaian, of course. German-Ivorian, of course. And we're all hoping to see Jamal Musiala, the German-Nigerian, maybe returning in the December weeks just before Christmas. Michael Olise, who's proud of the 4 countries that he's associated with: France, Algeria, Nigeria, and Britain. Olise, of course, opting to play for France. And what a player they've got in Olise. As we saw Luis Diaz go through. Luis Diaz was really pressing hard, but it wasn't actually a foul. He tripped on himself. Well, and I guess he got up very quickly, Diaz, as we see. Oh, was that really offside, Bouba? Just look at Ansar.
That is not offside.
I mean, really, how could that have been offside?
That is not offside.
For me, he was on the same level as Upamecano's boot.
Right. I think that particular action has been shown again to the fans on the pitch, and somehow people are a bit mad. The fans, Union fans, are a bit mad there.
Well, it's understandable. I mean, how can that have been offside? But what can you do? Decisions always go for Bayern. Can that be?
Well, we find ourselves in Berlin right now on the Union's ground in Alten Försterei. Union pressing on the left-hand side. And, of course, if you look at the lineup that Bayern decided to go with today, they're not taking any chances against Union. Look at their back. Yeah. No chances here, because this is the team that you cannot mess around with. They run, they chase.
Well, that was a foul on Kane by young Querfeld. He's the Austrian central defender there. And he's the man supposed to mark Harry Kane. And the referee, Dr. Florian Exner, having a word there with the young Austrian. That was a bit of a body check there on Harry Kane. And free kick to Bayern Munich. Incidentally, Bouba, these 2 teams have been drawn against each other in the DFB Pokal. So Union meet Bayern Munich here in their stadium on December the 3rd.
Wow. It's just wow. But you never know, at the Pokal, anything can happen.
Anything can happen.
We actually saw how, 3rd, 4th division sides are who can kick Bayern out.
Yeah.
In the Pokal.
That was the season before last. Anything can happen.
Yeah.
Here is Michael Olise. Plays the ball in the penalty area. Headed away by Diego Late. Here come Bayern Union with Ansar. Tries to slip the ball forward, but Olise dropping back, and Olise and Kane dropping back to defend, would you believe?
Right. I think this has been a signature move now of Harry Kane, dropping all the way to the back, being a bit more of a defender.
Yeah.
It drops to the 10, drops to the 8, and even to the 6, helping Goretzka and Kimmich there.
He's really everywhere.
Right.
Let me just tell you that Christopher Trimmel, who is the veteran in the Union Berlin setup, he is suspended, and that's why he's not on the pitch. a very good player, Christopher Trimmel, the Austrian who's been here for a really long time.
One of Union's experienced.
Very much so. Trimmel suspended, and we might see Derek Kern, of course, come on in the second half. Now, interestingly, 8 of Union Berlin's 11 points that they won this season, 8 of these 11 points were won at home here at the Stadion an der Alten Försterei. And they're actually thinking of building the stadium a little bit bigger. What do you think of that?
That's right. I think it's a good thing because this current stadium is
a bit small, 22,000.
It's small, and if Union wants to consider playing at the European level, playing at the Champions League at the Europa level, then obviously they would need to have a bigger stadium.
Well, they were hoping for 40,000, but the city of Berlin said, no, that's not possible because of the amount of people who'd be traveling to the stadium. We can't provide enough buses for that. So they've reached a compromise of enlarging the stadium to around 32,000. So that's 10,000 more than what they've got now.
Yeah. I see German bureaucracy here.
Yeah.
I just see that. Well, I mean, the stadium is a bit away from the train station. So once you stop at the train station, you have to walk quite a bit to get to the stadium itself, or you look for a bus. I would understand that, but to be honest, to me, it's just German bureaucracy.
Very bureaucratic indeed. Joshua Kimmich with a free kick just outside the penalty area. Gnabry is in an offside position, but that's done on purpose these days. Good defending once more by Diego Leite. The ball picked up by Jonathan Tah, and the boos still continuing because of some remark that Jonathan Tah made years ago about the Union Berlin supporters.
Jonathan Tah?
Yeah, and they're still booing him because this is about 4 years ago.
I couldn't remember that. But that 4 years ago, he was at Bayer Leverkusen.
Exactly. It's so ridiculous that they're still booing him. They just haven't forgotten that. So each time you hear the boos, it's going to be for poor Jonathan Tah.
Oh, yeah. Well, he's a national, he plays for the national team, so Union fans, well, they can boo him. He's still going to be Jonathan Tah.
Absolutely.
I have nothing against him, even though I'm an Union fan, probably not a hardcore one.
Very modest, good, solid defender, Jonathan Tah.
That's right.
He and Upamecano, many people saying, are the best centre-back pairing in Europe at the moment.
They've brought a lot of stability to Bayern's defense. Bayern's defense used to be a bit shaky.
Yeah, and I must say, Upamecano used to be shaky in the past season.
He used to make a lot of
mistakes, give away penalties, used to give away penalties, but he's really good now. He's settled, and that's why Real Madrid might want the services of Upamecano.
It would be a shame, though, if Bayern decide to let him go.
Well, they've got to open up the money bags.
Well, it's true, but now that they've managed to find stability in Jonathan Tah and Dayot Upamecano, it would be a shame if Bayern would let any of those one go.
Konrad Laimer with the throw-in. Bayern Munich have settled into this game. It took a little bit of time, Bouba, the opening 10 minutes, and if that goal had stood, I think Bayern would be in a lot of bother, but they've settled down now, and I can only see one result.
As to say, they've gone into administrative mode, but not against Union, as they are in possession right now in the center circle, moving towards the left-hand side.
They get the ball away, picked up by Harry Kane, plays it to his right, to Michael Olise. Slow, patient build-up, as we know from Bayern Munich. The ball played to Olise's right. That's Konrad Laimer coming up to help the attack. The ball played back to Upamecano, and he'll patiently pick the ball up and pass it to Tah, as the whistles will tell you who's on the ball. Here's Stanisic back to Tah, Tah to Upamecano, and Bayern are in this game. They've arrived. It took them, say, 10 to 15 minutes, and they're certainly settled down into this game. Talking about Berlin bureaucracy, Bouba, last week, for the very first time, Hertha Berlin, who are sadly in the second division, and Union Berlin had home games on the same day. And that was the first time that ever happened in Berlin, that Union and Hertha played on the same day, but things worked out very well. There was no problem at all.
There was no clashes.
For the municipalities of Berlin to get the crowds to the stadium and back, so that's never happened.
Also, for fans who don't know, there is a massive rivalry between Union and Hertha. It's like the red versus blue in the city of Berlin. Berlin is somehow divided among football fans. Those who support the Reds, that's the Union Berlin.
Very much in the east of Berlin, of course.
Right.
And Hertha Berlin in the west. They play in the enormous stadium, the Olympic Stadium. Good work there by Horta. Corner to Union Berlin with Florian Exter, the referee, looking on. And a little bit of pressure.
That's right. You see defenders like Tom Rote pushing all the way to the top there and playing along there with Oliver Burke. That tells you Union is not just sitting deep, but also pressing high.
Hoffenheim have now equalised in their game against Leipzig. Alban Haidari with the goal opportunity, and it's a goal for Berlin!
I tell you what!
That is Durkee, the Dutch defender, Danilo Durkee. Now that was a massive mistake by Manuel Neuer, Bouba.
Right.
He let the ball slip out of his arms. It squirmed under his body. Union are back, and they get the goal they deserve.
Danilo Durkee with that goal there, what a mistake. But...
Oh, Manuel Neuer.
It slipped under Manuel Neuer. He looks a bit tired.
Oops. It slipped under, it squirmed under his body. And I think the goal would certainly be given to Danilo Durkee. Or will it be given as an own goal to Neuer?
No, it is. The shot is there. And I think the velocity is also there. Definitely that goal should go to Danilo Durkee. And this time around, I don't think the help of the VAR is going to be called in here, because it is a clear-cut goal and Union are leading by 1-0. 1-0
Union. The goal came late, but it came.
And I see Bayer Leverkusen smashing Heidenheim right now.
4-0 up by Leverkusen against Heidenheim. Well, that was to be expected, but certainly not a 4-0 scoreline. Now, that is some scoreline. Now, Bayern Munich, of course, they ended Leverkusen's 37-game unbeaten away Bundesliga run. 37 games Leverkusen were unbeaten, but of course they lost last week in Munich. That comfortable win that was for Bayern. Now, that was Leverkusen's first loss in the Bundesliga since Kasper Hulmont, the Danish coach, took over. Leverkusen, of course, they've beaten Heidenheim 4 times out of 4. And Frank Schmidt's side, Heidenheim, they've not taken a single point away from home yet this season. And they're 4-0 down to Leverkusen. What a scoreline. And Ernest Poku, the Dutch Ghanaian, amongst the scorers there. Plenty of players of African descent. They've got Christian Kofane, he's Cameroonian. Edmund Tubsoba, he's of Burkina Faso. Ibrahim Massa is a new signing from Hertha Berlin, he's Algerian. Nathan Teller, English-Nigerian. Timothy Menza, he's Dutch-Ghanaian. And Ilyes Ben Seguir, he's French-Moroccan. And there's a youngster, Ken Izakor. Surely that was offside. Harry Kane tried to go past the keeper. Everybody knew that was offside.
He knew that. That's why he didn't even try to push past Renault.
And Ken Izakor is a young German-Nigerian who we're keeping an eye on. He's the youngest player ever to have played for Leverkusen. They've got Axel Tapé, he's French-Ivorian, who came from the unending production line of the PSG, Paris Saint-Germain Academy. Then, of course, Heidenheim, they got 2 players of African descent. Omar Traore, he's German-Togolese, and Sir Lord Comte, he's German-Ghanaian. But I'm afraid Heidenheim on the receiving end there, as Union Berlin with a slender 1-0 lead. Bouba, how do you think this game's going to develop?
It's a tough one. I don't know how long Union is going to be able to keep up this performance, which is, by the way, very good so far. But I don't know how long they're going to be able to keep it up against a team like Bayern.
Well, they're really throwing everything at Bayern Munich, and this is what Leverkusen had to face a lot of criticism last week for their very meek performance against a Bayern Munich B-side.
That's right. Look at Nicholas Jackson on the bench, Tom Bishop, Leonard Karl, Pavlovic. These are all very good players, and their energy level is way too high. And so Bayern has a good rotation, has the possibility of bringing all these players in there. Exactly. And Min Jae Kim, Sasha Boy, these are all super good players.
But we've not seen one attempt on Frederick Runo's goal by
so
Bayern.
Far not, because Union is pressing high. And playing against a team like Bayern, it's a sleeping giant. I don't know. You can never underestimate Bayern. They could turn up the notch a little bit and make the day very difficult for. Right. And of course, we give a big shout out to all of our listeners out there. If you're listening to us, go to our YouTube page, DW Africa. Tell us what you think about this game. Tell us your predictions as well. And a big shout out to all of our listeners via our partner stations in Nigeria. Rape our listeners all across Nigeria. You are very, very much welcome to the Bundesliga live commentary here with me, Bouba, Jalloh, and Sisto. And also not to forget our listeners in Uganda, UBC Radio. You're all welcome to this commentary on match day 10 of the Bundesliga.
Exactly. We love to know our African listeners are there, and we try and give you as much of the Bundesliga as possible with a focus on the African players who are doing so well. We've got so many African players coming through the ranks here in the Bundesliga, and we like what our aim is to make them household names.
That's right. And I really appreciate the fact that, you go deeper looking into those names, into those players, looking at their background, not just saying that, they have, Serge Gnabry has a Ghanaian background and all that, but at least for our listeners to understand, have a little bit of understanding, knowing that these players, they might be playing in Europe. Some are born here, grew up here, but they do appreciate where they come from,
African
or where their parents come from.
African ties, African roots, of course. And there were two Africans involved in Werder Bremen's narrow victory, very late victory last night. They beat Wolfsburg 2-1, and we told our listeners that Victor Boniface got the assist, and what an assist that was, a bicycle overhead kick by Boniface, and it fell into the path of Samuel Mbangula, who was stealing in on the right-hand side, and he hammered that ball into the net. I think it was the 94th or 95th minute there. Cruel for Wolfsburg,
right?
But good win for Werder Bremen. Here's Harry Kane. Harry Kane on the ball. Harry Kane appeals for handball, but it goes Union Berlin's way, and Harry Kane having a word with the referee there, Dr. Florian Exner. But it was a handball, I think, by Harry Kane, and he just doesn't want to know. But it's still 1-0 to Union Berlin.
That's right.
And Bouba, what I've seen till now is a very tired Bayern Munich side. Maybe Vincent Kompany should have fielded a B-side.
I agree. Players like, especially Joshua Kimmich, should not be starting this game today. He looked a bit tired, and even Manuel Neuer, I would have reserved him. Bring in youngster Obig to actually take, because he's good. Jonas Obig is actually really good.
Yeah,
I would have given Manuel Neuer a day to rest, or maybe at least on the bank, so that a little bit of rotation would have helped Bayern today. But nope, I don't think the coach there, Vincent Kompany, thought to give a little bit of a leeway today, maybe playing the regular players, but it looks like a mistake in my opinion.
Bayern Munich in position, but that was offside. Let's just remind you, Leverkusen falling up against Heidenheim. What a scoreline there in the first half. Hasn't yet finished. Heidenheim in deep trouble in their third consecutive season. Schick, Hoffmann, Schick again, and Ernst Poku with the goals, making it Leverkusen 4, Heidenheim, poor Heidenheim, rooted to the bottom of the table there on 5 points. The other scorelines are Hoffenheim 1, Leipzig 1, and Hamburg are playing Borussia Dortmund today. It's 0-0 there. A big one up in Hamburg. Hamburg back in the Bundesliga after 7 years, would you believe, in Division 2. But they too are struggling, quite frankly. They're up against Borussia Dortmund, and it'll be interesting to see how Borussia Dortmund fare after their Champions League game in Manchester, where they lost 4-1 to Manchester City on Wednesday. Will Dortmund be exhausted after that game?
They got really hammered. Even though I would say they played okay.
In the opening 15 minutes, they were good.
They were good, but obviously Manchester City were the better side. Hammered Borussia Dortmund.
Erling Haaland amongst the goals there.
That's right.
Phil Foden getting 2 and Ryan Cherki getting the 4th. So I wonder how Borussia Dortmund will react today, if they'll be tired, because we've got a tired Bayern Munich side here. But they've got a free kick. It's going to be taken by Joshua Kimmich from the left-hand side. In he comes, cleared. Bouba, Union Berlin are certainly burning. They're on fire and they look fit. And why shouldn't they?
They've only got the Bundesliga to play and the DFB Pokal. That's the German Cup. That was the only 2 tournaments they have to play, and the German Cup is very similar to the Bundesliga. So they're playing, either top division sides or second or third division sides. So obviously, Bayern has got Champions League to play, so they have a lot more.
Out comes Renault.
That's right.
There's not been one save he's had to make. Frederick Renault, the goalkeeper of Union Berlin, the Dane, who's been here for a long time.
Right, the Union back hasn't had a tough day today. Diego Leite, Querfeld and Durkee, they've been pressing really high because Bayern has not been very dangerous today.
Nope. Here come Bayern. Never write them off, of course. You write Bayern off at your peril. The ball played out to Konrad Laimer. There's Olise hugging the touchline, slips it forward to Konrad Laimer. Clever turn by Laimer. He's still on the ball, plays it back to Olise. It's all about the cross now. Olise with a delicate chip into the box, headed away though by Kemlein, Aljoscha Kemlein for Berlin. Berlin being Union. Clever work here by Luis Diaz! What a goal by Luis Diaz! What an angle! He hammered it from basically on the touchline into the net. 1-1.
He actually saved that ball. He dashed, grabbed the ball, turned around, managed to go against, I think, Diego Leite. I'm not exactly sure. But then he hammered the ball right from the right-hand side under the net. Frederick Renault had no chance. He didn't actually see that ball coming.
Clever 1-2. And he kept the ball from crossing the line, and he hammered it from the touchline into the net. What a goal by Luis Diaz, and he scored his 3rd successive goal.
That's right. This is a player that has it all. For me, he is a classic attacker who is able to disrupt an entire defense like he did right now.
You just wonder how Liverpool could have let this guy leave.
I just don't believe
can they
it.
have let him? And they must be kicking themselves, Liverpool.
They had way too much money to spend, and they wanted to spend to buy its profit.
But let's put it this way, Bouba. That equalizer came out of nowhere.
And no one was expecting that. It didn't even look dangerous. It just tells you how good Luis Diaz is.
Yeah, he's, I think, Bayern Munich's best player, alongside Harry Kane, of course. We mustn't forget he's 12 goals in 9 games till now. And Bayern Munich, of course, in control and playing the ball back. That goal should have been prevented by Union Berlin, at least. They should have taken that 1-0 lead at half-time. Oliver Burke taking a knock there, the Scottish player, with Jonathan Tah charging into him. And he fell really awkwardly, Oliver Burke. Used to play for Leipzig, used to play for Werder Bremen, the Scottish player there. He and Ansar, well, that was a little back that was provided by Jonathan Tah, as we see the replay of that Luis Diaz goal when he defied physics and he got to the touchline, went past Haberer and hammered it into the net while standing basically on the touchline.
That's right.
Some goal that was. Just look at that, Bouba, the way he went round Haberer.
It's so smooth. It's so smooth.
Yeah. 1-1.
This is one of the best parts of football, you know, when you see a player pulling off such a move. What a goal.
Hoffenheim have now taken the lead against Leipzig, and it's Tim Lemperle making it Hoffenheim 2, Leipzig 1. Leipzig unbeaten in 8 games, of course. 22 points from 9 matches, off to the best start in their club's history. Both teams have won their last 3 Bundesliga games, and 2 Ivorians in form there. Hoffenheim's Basumana Touré and Leipzig's Jan Diomande. Well, Jan Diomande has already scored today. These 2 Ivorians are 2 of the 3 fastest Bundesliga players this season. Diomande in form, and of course Basumana Touré, 2 of the 3 fastest Bundesliga players this season.
Right.
Plenty of players of African descent there. We've got the veteran Kevin Akpobuma. He's German-Nigerian. He plays for Hoffenheim. We've got another veteran, Ilas Bebu. He's German-Togolese. Then they've got David Mokfa. He's French-Cameroonian. And as I tell you, Basumana Touré, who was really one of the best players Hoffenheim had last season, the young Ivorian. And goodness, when we look at the amount of African players or players of African descent on the Leipzig side, Jan Diomande, we keep telling you about him, the Ivory Coast international, came from the DME Academy in Florida. Then he went to Leganés in Spain, and then he was called up to the Ivory Coast squad for their games against Saudi Arabia and Oman. So the Ivory Coast with 2 friendlies coming up there against Saudi Arabia and Oman, and Jan Diomande was called up for that one. Johan Bakayoko, he's on the bench. He's Belgian-Congolese. Castello Lukeba, given a rest. He's French-Angolan. Riedler Baku, you all know about him and why his name is Riedler. He's German DOC. Antonio Musa, he's Norwegian-Nigerian. And El Shaddai Bichiabo, playing for Castello Lukeba today. He's French-Congolese. And, of course, Hassan Ouedraogo, one of the best players in the Bundesliga this season. He's from Burkina Faso. Ezekiel Banzuzi, Dutch-Congolese. And we're happy to say that the man from Mali, Amadou Haidara, he's back on the bench for Leipzig after being out injured for a long time. Tidiane Gomi, he's French-Senegalese. He's a new signing for Leipzig. And Joyeux Masangabung, he's Belgian-Congolese. So many players of African descent at Leipzig, but they're trailing Hoffenheim by 2-1. The ball played back to Neuer. How much will that goal affect Union Berlin, Bouba?
It does affect them a lot, but right now Union with a push there, but the ball saved by Jonathan Tah.
Coming in there, good tackle, good block by the big central defender there. He and Upamecano have set him down really well, forming a really good partnership there. That's why Min Jae Kim, the South Korean, he's on the bench today, but he's also quite useful, Kim, when he comes on. It's a corner to be taken by Yannick Haberer from the right-hand side. It's a good one. In it comes, headed away, though, by Kane. Union scored from a corner. Opportunity here, the ball.
Oh!
Neuer drops it again. It falls to Ansah.
Oh!
Goodness me, Ansah with a shot there. Still on the ball, Ilyas Ansah. He's looking good. And it's time that Union have a good striker they can aim for. And the ball cleared, but it's still Union. But dangerously, they give the ball away, and here come Bayern Munich.
Oh, this doesn't look good for Union Berlin.
Here he is once more, Luis Diaz.
Luis Diaz is gonna
but he pulls his shot wide. That was a lucky escape for Union Berlin. They gave the ball away.
It is a lucky escape there.
A little bit carelessly, maybe.
Maybe there was a bit too much confidence in Luis Diaz there, thinking he already has the goal, but then aim for the far end of the pitch, of the goal. of the goalpost.
That was a big chance to make it Bayern 2, Union 1, but it's 1-1 here. The home side are Union Berlin, of course. And Luis Diaz, the man in form at the moment, I'd say, Bouba. He is frighteningly in form, the Colombian there. The ball headed back to Manuel Neuer. And let's see. Oliver Burke, fortunately, is back on the pitch after falling heavily there, but he's back. He and Ilyas Ansar, the German Ghanaian, up front for Union Berlin. Long ball by Bayern out of the fence, but it's picked up by Tom Water, the former Borussia Dortmund youngster. Now here's Ilyas Ansar. Does well, Ansar. Tom Water marauding forward, tries a back heel. Very brave to do that against Bayern. Still Tom Water, but that was a rather clumsy touch. And Lima and Olise and Kimmich tidying up for Bayern. And look who's there in the box. It's Harry Kane with a very long pass onto the wing to Michael Olise. And surprisingly, Olise unable to keep that ball in play, Bouba.
That's right. Look at Bayern's makeshift defender there, Harry Kane.
His makeshift defender, indeed. But the crowd is just amazing. The atmosphere is non-stop support.
It is. That is one thing about Union fans, is that whether the team is losing or is winning,
the atmosphere is the same.
It doesn't change. It's like the club is everything. Whether you win, whether you lose, the club comes first. It's not you, your passion. This is the Eisen Union motto.
The Irons. Here comes Michael Olise taking on Tom Water. Cuts inside. Olise tries to find Kimmich, but very good defending there by Alyosha Kemline. He finds Ilyas Ansar. Now he's got to be careful that he doesn't give the ball away in a dangerous position.
That doesn't look good, Ilyas Ansar.
But indeed, he does give the ball away. Here come Bayern Munich once more. This is once more Lima. It falls to Kane, and it takes a deflection there, and it goes out for a corner. I think Ilyas Ansar exaggerated. He should have just hammered the ball out of the fence there.
That's right. And he dribbled a bit to the back. I don't think.
This is typical for younger players. They want all the glory. They go past one man, they go past the second, then they've got to release it, but they want to take on the third and fourth player, and that was, of course, very dangerous.
They've got to also show, or they want to show, that they are able to control the ball and play with it, which is not necessary. Looking at Stefan Baumgart here.
Stefan Baumgart, the Union Berlin coach. He's been around some time. Opportunity here for Bayern Munich. Desperate defending by Union. Still Bayern. Kimmich plays it into the penalty area. Finds Tar. Tar lays it back to Olise. Fine save. And Kane scores.
It looks like he's offside position.
Is he offside?
It is clear offside
position. Is he offside?
Right.
That would have been goal number 13 for Kane. But it's offside. And it's would have been a cruel blow for Union, because we're in added time in the first half. Indeed, he was offside, Harry Kane, and I think he knew it.
He knew it. That's why he didn't celebrate that much. But I tell you who wasn't on offside. That is Mazda for Bayer Leverkusen. They've added another goal to make it 5-0 against Heidenheim.
You got to feel sorry for Heidenheim.
You got to feel sorry for Frank Schmidt as well.
You got to feel sorry for Frank Schmidt.
The oldest coach in the Bundesliga.
17 years, 17 successive years in charge of the same club. That's
right. He took them from the bottom of nowhere.
From the 5th division up to the Bundesliga. This is their third successive season. And they hang on to Frank Schmidt for 17 years. That is, I think, a European record.
It is a record, and I don't know any other European club that can do that. But, of course, Heidenheim is a small club from a small village, but they're really punching above their belt, doing so much in the Bundesliga.
Opportunity for Union. Can they slay the dragon today, the Bayern dragon? Here's Harry Kane. Harry Kane on the ball, but that was offside again. Well, he's cut a frustrated figure today, Harry Kane. That goal saving Union's skin just before the half-time whistle. Just under a minute remaining here. It's 1-1 at the Alten Försterei. As he's in constant contact in Saint Company with the fourth official, isn't he, Bouba?
He is. Well, maybe in the second half he's going to do a lot of changes there. I think some of these players that look a bit tired. Michael Olise to me looks a bit tired. And I haven't seen much of Serge Gnabry in that 10. I don't know. Maybe,
True,
yeah.
you're right. Serge Gnabry, I haven't seen him once.
Nope. He's not being that much. He's obviously on the pitch, but you don't see him that much there.
There goes the half-time whistle. In Berlin, in the capital, it's Union Berlin 1, Bayern Munich 1. It was a heavy mistake, a serious mistake by Manuel Neuer, who let the ball slip under his body from a shot there. 1-0 to Union, and then, of course, a superb goal by Luis Diaz, who found the back of the net. 1-1 here, and everything to play for, Bouba.
Everything to play for. Union have got to go back to the drawing board and think of how they are going to be able to topple Bayern in the second half. And of course, Bayern might also consider rotating a little bit to get some of their good players into the second half. But don't go anywhere. Stay with us as we've got a fantastic second half show, halftime show for you.
Bundesliga Radio live.
Welcome to this halftime show, your fast-paced mix of football fever. From La Liga drama to Bundesliga breakthroughs, we've got it all. Real Madrid and Barca are licking their wounds after midweek stumbles. PSG's injury list is longer than a VAR check, and Napoli's grip on Serie A is slipping. Plus, Germany's got a teenage sensation, Zambia's got a new boss, and Nick Kyrgios might just be hopping back onto the Grand Slam stage. Buckle up, it's game time with me, Bouba Jalloh. And now, some news. Authorities in Turkey have detained 18 people as part of an investigation into football referees suspected of betting on matches. Arrest warrants have been issued for 21 individuals, including 17 referees and the president of a first division club. The probe focuses on allegations of match fixing and abuse of power. Last week, the Turkish Football Federation suspended 149 referees for betting on games, with suspensions ranging from 8 to 12 months. An earlier investigation found that 152 referees, including 22 from the top league, had actively placed bets. Referees have denied betting on matches they officiated, stating some bets were placed when they were amateur referees. The investigation is ongoing. And now to the Champions League. English clubs are dominating this season's Champions League, powered by their financial strength. All 6 Premier League teams are performing strongly at the halfway point of the group stage. For the second time in 4 rounds, 5 English clubs secured victories in a single week, a Champions League first. 4 of the 6 teams are on the top 8, putting them on course for automatic qualification to the last 16. And all 6 sit within the top 12. Collectively, they've won 17 of 24 matches and lost only 3. Arsenal stand out defensively, while Manchester City, Liverpool, Newcastle United, Tottenham Hotspur and Chelsea are all well positioned to advance. With such impressive results, all 6 English clubs could reach the last 16, surpassing the previous record of 5 in 2017. Analysts say this success highlights the Premier League's growing influence in European football. The Agnelli family, owners of Juventus for more than a century, say they have no intention of selling their shares in the club, despite cryptocurrency group Tether acquiring over 10% of Juventus. John Elkann, CEO of the family's holding company Exo, reaffirmed their commitment to the club and openness to working with other investors. Arteta, now the club's second largest shareholder, has nominated 2 candidates for Juventus board, with investors set to vote soon. Despite recent struggles and changes in management, Elkan says the priority remains achieving strong results on the pitch and maintaining financial discipline. The Agnelli family has invested about €1 billion in Juventus over the past 7 years. Elkan's comments reinforced the historic relationship between the family and the club, especially after recent leadership changes. An amateur football league organized by farmers, students, and factory workers in rural China has captured the attention of millions nationwide. The Village Super League has inspired big cities to launch their own leagues, raising hopes that China could develop homegrown football talent and emerge as a global contender. Despite boasting about 200 million football fans, China has long struggled to build world-class teams, hampered by a restrictive top-down system and a history of corruption. But the Village Super League, with its lively matches, folk performance at halftime, and prizes like livestock, has boosted local economies and won praise from President Xi Jinping in his 2024 New Year's speech. This grassroots movement is being hailed as a new chapter for Chinese football, showing the world a vibrant and flourishing side of China. Manchester United prospect James Overy has been called up to Australia's squad for friendlies against Colombia and Venezuela as coach Tony Popovich welcomed back midfielders Jackson Irvine and Riley McGree from injuries. Overy, a 17-year-old fullback who joined United's academy last year, has yet to play senior football for the Premier League club, but was part of Australia's squad for the recent Under-20 World Cup. Pro-Palestinian and pro-Israeli supporters protested outside Aston Villa's Europa League match against Maccabi Tel Aviv in Birmingham. With over 700 police officers on duty, the match went ahead safely and Villa won 2-0. Ajax Amsterdam have sacked coach John Heitinga after a poor start to the season, including 4 heavy defeats in the Champions League. Fred Grimm takes over as interim coach, while assistant coach Marcel Kaiser is also departing. Technical director Alex Kroos has offered to leave early if a replacement is found. Ajax are currently 4th in the Eredivisie but sit bottom of the Champions League group after a chaotic start to the campaign. Inter Miami stars Lionel Messi and Rodrigo de Paul have been called up to Argentina's national team for a friendly against Angola on November 14. Coach Lionel Scaloni named both players to his 24-man squad. Meanwhile, Inter Miami faces Nashville FC in a decisive Game 3 of their MLS Cup playoff series this Saturday. If Miami advances, the conference semifinals will start later in November. Messi and de Paul also played in Argentina's October friendlies, with Messi featuring in one game and de Paul in both. Christian Pulisic will miss the United States' upcoming friendlies against Paraguay and Uruguay as coach Mauricio Pochettino prepares for his pre-World Cup training camp. Gio Reyna returns to the squad for the first time this March, while Weston McKennie and Matt Turner are among the notable absentees from the 25-man roster. The 16th ranked US will face Paraguay on November 15 in Chester, Pennsylvania, followed by a clash with Uruguay on November 18 in Tampa, Florida. Barcelona is back at Camp Nou for the first time since May 2023, but only for a training session. The club sold out 23,000 tickets for Friday's open practice at the newly renovated stadium. Upgrades began in June 2023, aiming to expand capacity to 105,000 seats. Although delays have pushed back the return of competitive matches, club president Joan Laporta hopes games will resume this month. In the meantime, Barca continues to play at the Olympic Stadium, with Hansi Flick's squad preparing for Sunday's La Liga fixture. France has recalled World Cup winner N'Golo Kante for its upcoming qualifiers against Ukraine and Azerbaijan. Coach Didier Deschamps praised Kante's form, saying the midfielder is at his best and will play an important role. France leads Group D and can secure a World Cup spot with a win over Ukraine on November 13 in Paris. The team then travels to Baku for their second match. Despite injuries to PSG's Desiree Doué and Ousmane Dembele, Deschamps still has attacking firepower in Kylian Mbappe and Randal Kolo Muani. Fiorentina is hoping a new coach brings a change in fortune after a winless start to the Serie A season. Daniel De Rossi has been appointed following the dismissal of Stefano Pioli, but he'll miss Sunday's match due to the suspension from his previous role at AS Roma. Interim coach Daniel Galoppa will lead the team against Genoa as the Viola look to climb off the bottom of the table. Manchester United manager Ruben Amorim has responded to criticisms from Cristiano Ronaldo, who said the club lacked vision and warned Amorim wouldn't perform miracles. Amorim acknowledged Ronaldo's influence but urged focus on the future, citing internal reforms and structural changes. United, currently 8th in the Premier League, face Tottenham on Saturday in a high-stakes clash. A win could lift them to provisional second place and offer redemption after last season's Europa League final loss to Tottenham Hotspurs. And yet, so what's going to happen there? Manchester City and Liverpool face off Sunday in a key Premier League match, not for the title, but to stay in the race. Arsenal could be up to 10 points clear by then, adding pressure on both sides. City are in strong form with Erling Haaland scoring his 18th goal of the season in a 4-1 win over Dortmund. Liverpool have bounced back with wins over Aston Villa and Real Madrid. A loss for either side could make catching Arsenal a daunting task. Now to some La Liga weekend preview. Real Madrid and Barcelona return to La Liga this weekend looking to bounce back from midweek Champions League defeats. Real lead the table with 30.5 ahead of Barca, but face pressure after a 1-0 loss to Liverpool and criticism of manager Xabi Alonso's rotation policy. They visit Rayo Vallecano on Sunday. Barcelona also need a lift before the international break. And now to football at home in Germany. Germany is calling up young talent. Germany has named 19-year-old Said El Mala in the squad for World Cup qualifiers against Luxembourg and Slovakia. Coach Julian Nagelsmann praised the Cologne forwards' energy and potential. Leroy Sané and Malik Thiaw returned, while Robin Koch and several Bundesliga regulars were left out. Germany faces Luxembourg on November 14 and Slovakia on November 17, with only the group winner earning direct qualification. That's going to be a tough one for Germany. Paris Saint-Germain is dealing with a growing injury list after Tuesday's Champions League loss to Bayern Munich. Ousmane Dembele, Achraf Hakimi, and Nuno Mendes are all sidelined, joining rising star Desiree Doué. Coach Luis Enrique admitted he must manage the squad better. PSG leads Ligue 1 by 2 points, but face a tough test at Lyon on Sunday. Napoli is under pressure in the Serie A because Napoli sits atop Serie A but could drop to 4th if they fail to beat Bologna this weekend. Antonio Conte's side has struggled in recent matches, missing injured star Kevin De Bruyne and Leonardo Spinazzola. Bologna, unbeaten in 7 matches, are just 4 points behind and climbing fast. Now to the African continent. Zambia has named former defender Moses Sichona as head coach ahead of next month's Africa Cup of Nations. Sichona is replacing Avram Grant and will be supported by ex-internationals Andrew Sinkala and Percy Mutapa. His first test come in friendlies against South Africa and Burundi. Zambia is in Group A with Morocco, Mali, and Comoros. And finally, in tennis, Nick Kyrgios says he is feeling rejuvenated after a surprise improvement in his long troubled knee. And he's hinting at a Grand Slam return. The 2022 Wimbledon finalist, now ranked 652nd, has played just 6 matches in 3 years due to injury. But after recent physio sessions, Kyrgios says his knee feels younger and pain-free. And yes, that's a wrap of the halftime show. Whether it's comeback kings, coaching shakeups, or title race heating up, the beautiful game never sleeps. And neither do we. Don't forget to follow, share, and tune in next time as we chase these stories behind the stories. Until then, keep your boots laced and your audios tuned. Football fever lives on. I am Bouba Jalloh. And back to the second half of the match between Union Berlin and Bayern Munich, hosted by yours truly, Bouba Jalloh here and Sisto. And welcome back to the Stadion an der Alten Försterei, the stadium on the Old Forest, Försterei. So this is Berlin, this is Union Berlin taking on the German giant Bayern Munich. Currently, at the beginning we saw Bayern slipping a little bit, conceding 1 goal, and then thanks to a brilliant ball by Diaz, Bayern managed to equalize 1-1.
I'll tell you what I like, Bouba, is that Union have not been timid. They've taken the game to Bayern, especially in the opening minutes of the first half, and they thoroughly deserve the 1-1 scoreline, possibly even more.
This is at home. This is Stadion an der Alten Försterei, where Union has the fan behind them, they have the support, and of course, they have the players, and they have a really good coach in the name of Steffen Baumgart.
They certainly have a good coach. Baumgart, he's been around for some time. He's coached Magdeburg, Hansa Rostock, Berliner AK, Paderborn, Cologne, Hamburg, and now Union Berlin. And plenty of passion on the touchline there from Steffen Baumgart. 1-1 the scoreline here.
And there's one thing about Steffen Baumgart that people need to know, that he's right from the beginning being a member of Union Berlin.
Very true.
He always carried a membership card. Even when he was a famous coach with Cologne FC, he was still a supporter and a member of the Union team. So,
but he never played for them and he never coached them before, till now, of course.
Till now, this is the first time he's actually... Union was struggling a bit when he took over. It took a little bit of changes to make, but obviously he succeeded in making those changes. Union are not back to the usual Union, but they're getting there.
That was good work by Ansar, forcing Dayo Tupamecano to concede a corner there, and it's a corner, and the set pieces are so important for this Union side. They've always been dangerous from set pieces. That's part of their footballing philosophy. And let's see if they can trouble Bayern's defence once more. In comes the ball, headed across the penalty box there, but beaten away this time by Bayern Munich. But it's a long ball, played forward, trying to pick out Querfeld. What's he doing up front? His job is to defend against Harry Kane. Harry Kane scored an offside goal in the first half, and so did Ilyas Ansar. That goal that we thought had given Union the lead was offside, but only by half an inch. But they did score through Danilo Dürki after a big mistake by Manuel Neuer. And then, of course, Luis Diaz, brilliant goal, making it 1-1. Here comes Neuer, grabs the ball, bowls it out over arm, tries to release Luis Diaz, but it's picked up by Union Berlin. Here they come. They can be very happy with their first half performance, and maybe they can build on it, because we have detected that Bayern look a little bit tired, and that's no big surprise after their exertions in Paris, especially in that second half when they were under tremendous pressure by Paris Saint-Germain. So Bayern, experienced enough to come away from setbacks like being 1-0 down here, slightly fortunate to be on level terms at half-time. And Jonathan Tah's on the ball, as you can hear. Serge Gnabry, not his brilliant best till now. He finds Upamecano, lays it across. Oh, that was another poor ball by Bayern Munich. Maybe they are slightly tired from that Paris game. I keep having to point it out because we've seen a few untypical Bayern errors today.
That's right. And it doesn't look like the Bayern that was biting so hard in Paris.
No. Here comes Ilyas Ansah, who's looked lively, excellent. The German Ghanaian tackled there by Upamecano. He wrestled him down, and it's a free kick. Oh, come on, it's a free kick to Union Berlin. It's almost going to be a corner. What was Upamecano thinking there, Bouba? He wrestled him down. He basically threw him to the ground.
He's been having a personal duel right now.
Yeah. Rani Khedira, the Union captain, giving his directions. It's going to be a free kick, which is almost like a corner to Union Berlin. Can they trouble Bayern Munich from their traditional danger set pieces? Free kick going to be taken from the left-hand side. That's the Union left, of course. And it's Yannick Haberer. He seems to be the man for the set pieces at Union Berlin. Used to play for Freiburg, Yannick Haberer, but he's a long-serving member here. In comes the free kick. It's a good one. Played across. There's Gnabry defending. And the ball beaten away. It's going to be picked up once more by Union Berlin. All the Bayern players in their own half. And that is seldom. The Bayern press, Bouba, which is so dangerous, they press so high, it's not really been working today.
No, I haven't seen much of that either. And as you said, it's not a team that is, it's not a team that we usually see. But obviously anything could change because this is Bayern.
Yeah, I mean, Bayern look like a normal side today.
They're looking normal, hopefully, maybe thinking, yeah, this is training. And at some point, they're going to put pressure.
Tah with an overhead kick, trying to find Kane. Kane finds Kimmich. Kimmich finds Goretzka. Goretzka wrestled to the ground. Play on, says the referee, Dr. Florian Exner. This is Querfeld, the young Austrian, tasked with marking Harry Kane. Good work by Tom Walter. Tom Walter taking on Lima. Great work by Ansah. Ansah gets to the touchline, turns, checks, finds Oliver Burke, and Oliver Burke wins the corner for Union.
What was he thinking, to be honest? Because Oliver Burke, we shouldn't have dribbled that ball to the corner there.
Good work by Ansah. Finds Burke, and the ball coming off Joshua Kimmich. And it's a corner to Eisern. Eisern Union, they sing. The Irons in Berlin, in the east of Berlin, in Köpenick, one of the really nice areas of Berlin with woods and lakes. In comes the corner, headed across the penalty area once more. This is what they like to do. The corner comes in and they head the ball across the penalty area once more. But somehow that move breaks down. But the ball's picked up once more by Leite. But there's a Bayern Munich player down in the box. And it's a free kick to Bayern Munich. Let's see who it was. It's Konrad Lima, and they certainly need him because he's in really good form. Now, one thing that people have been pointing out, Bouba, is that Bayern haven't really suffered any injuries this season. Is that because they train better or their physios know how to look after them better? Surprisingly, no injuries, long-term injuries, apart, of course, Musiala. He's been out for
I think if
ages.
someone who believes in luck would call it luck.
Okay.
Well, Alfonso Davies has been injured for a long time. He's actually started training. Jamal Musiala started training. And Max Eberl the sporting director, said there is a probability he might play in December, a few games.
Now,
Just the same.
do you think when Musiala comes back into this well-functioning Bayern Munich team, do you think that might be a bit of a problem? Could he disrupt this well-oiled machine?
It could be. It could be, because this team as it is right now, it does function. So maybe Musiala is the kind of player who keeps on to the ball for a very long time.
They don't really need him at the moment, do they?
Not really. So I guess that's why there's no more pressure on him, getting fit quickly and back on the pitch. But you never know. Maybe it's going to change the dynamics once he comes in there. We probably might see.
I mean, we saw the same happen with Florian Wirtz when he joined Liverpool, and they tried to adapt their style to accommodate Florian Wirtz. At least they've been using him on the left wing now at Liverpool. That's his position, not anymore in central midfield.
The 10 has not been, the 10 and the 8 has not
really been his position.
Oh, could that be a card?
That was a foul on a Union Berlin defender by a Bayern player, and I think the Bayern player is lucky not to get a yellow card for this one.
This is Harry Kane.
Harry Kane with a push on Khedira, and the ball coming off Konrad Laimer's hand there. Khedira sandwiched between Laimer and Kane, and it's definitely a free kick to the defending side. That is Union Berlin in their red and white strip, Bayern in their dark strip. Bayern playing from left to right in this second half in this very noisy little stadium in Berlin. Tom Walter. Neither side really settling well into this second half. It's 1-1 the scoreline, and it's not very often that you can say that when Bayern, do not forget, they've won all their games, all the 16 games they've played across all competitions. They've won every single one of them, which is something. And they've scored 57 goals in those games, which is something amazing. Oliver Burke doing very well, taking on Upamecano, but Upamecano gets the final say and pokes the ball into touch. He's been in really good form, Upamecano. And, Bayern, this is their 17th game, and they've won 16 of those 17th games, and they've scored 57 goals, and they've conceded 12. Not bad at all. Not bad at all. And 10 of those wins were by 3 goals or more. Tom Walter with a throw-in for Union. It's a long one. Picked up here by Querfeld. Tries his luck from far out. Well, it's a brave performance by Union. It's a little bit wild, but they're certainly throwing everything forward as long as they don't get caught at the back. Upamecano, who's been imperious in this opening stage of the second half. He's been here, there, and everywhere. That was a clash of shoulders. Olise stopped there by Union defenders, and Bayern trying to play the ball out of their half. Here they come once more. This is Olise. He finds Gnabry. It's been a quiet game for Serge Gnabry. Bundle off the ball by Rani Khedira. Ansa, who's had a good game. Elias Ansa, the young German Ghanaian. The ball played forward. Union looking dangerous. Here they come. Khedira plays it in. It falls to Leite. Oh, that was a rather hurried shot by Haberer. He hammered it over the crossbar. They could have done more.
Right.
That was a hasty shot. Khedira playing it in, the captain, and it fell to Yannick Haberer, who was unmarked. They should have done more, Bouba. They should have done more.
Yannick Haberer should have done more with that ball.
You're not going to get too many chances like that.
Not against the Bayern defense.
But Upamecano has looked very good in this second half. He's been a rock, an absolute rock, no doubt about it. Still no goals in Hamburg, between Hamburg and Borussia Dortmund. How will Dortmund recover from their 4-1 defeat at Manchester City in the Champions League on Wednesday? Dortmund, well, they've got 6 clean sheets so far this season from 9 Bundesliga matches. Only Bayern can match that. But no side has fewer goals than Hamburg's 8 goals so far this season. Hamburg, they had 2 players sent off in Cologne last Sunday. That's why they lost 4-1. Off comes Serge Gnabry. It's not been his best game.
That's right.
We said so. And on comes Lennart Karl.
The young star that so many Germans look forward to is come on now for Serge Gnabry.
Serge Gnabry. Lennart Karl is one of the stars of the future in German football. He's only 17 and he's been called up to the Germany under-21 squad at 17. That's not bad at all. Lennart Karl. And you might have heard the news that Cologne have got this young player called Said El Mala. He's of Lebanese origin. And he's been called up to the Germany squad to face Luxembourg in the international break. So Said El Mala, surprise call up. Everybody was hoping that Lennart Karl might be called up, but Said El Mala, the Cologne player, called up to that interesting game.
I tell you what, this was a smart move by Nagelsmann. He saw El Mala's performance at the moment is very good, and he's eligible to play as well for Lebanon.
Yeah.
But obviously,
they quickly
snapped him
up.
So now he can't play for Lebanon. He just has to play for Germany.
Exactly. We'll be interested to see how he fares in the late kickoff, which is Cologne. They travel to Mönchengladbach. That's the big North Rhine-Westphalia derby.
That's right.
Mönchengladbach and Cologne, bitter rivals over the years. And they play in the late kickoff.
That is going to be an interesting match
later
tonight between Gladbach and
promoted side Cologne.
Yeah. That's right. And actually, Gladbach, I was surprised that they extended the contract of Tim Kleindienst, who hasn't had a really good season so far.
Well, he's been out injured for so long. I think he makes the difference if he's in the side or not. Tabakovic is a good striker. Kleindienst is a good striker. He came from Heidenheim, remember? And I think the moment Tim Kleindienst left Heidenheim's problems began.
That's right.
Mazar has scored his second goal this afternoon. Ibrahim Mazar, the Algerian. Leverkusen 6, Heidenheim 0. You just got to feel sorry for Heidenheim. Bouba.
Right. I do feel sorry for them because that is, well, Leverkusen, they've got to, they're obviously coming back at after their disgraceful defeat.
Bayern Munich trying to mount some pressure, and it's not often that you say that with such hesitancy because it's not been a very good performance by Bayern, would you believe? Harry Kane plays the ball back to Kimmich. Kimmich on the ball. Plays it across to Konrad Laimer. He's got a little bit of space now, the Austrian right back. He finds Olise, who's had a quiet game too, Michael Olise. But Elias Anza has given everything he's got there, trying to keep them at bay. And that's how you've got to play against Bayern. You've got to focus and concentrate 100%. Good work by Union. Here they come. This is Rami Khedira with a long ball forward. But that was asking a little bit too much from Elias Anza. And the ball's picked up by Upamecano. He finds Kimmich just below us. Bayern waking up a little bit now in this second half. The scoreline is evenly balanced. It's 1-1. Here's Goretzka. We've not seen Lennart Karl yet. I think he's playing in the position that Gnabry had in central midfield. There he is on the edge of the penalty area, but it's Elias. Michael Olise gets the ball away there.
You're asking for Lennart Karl. There he is, dribbling that ball past it over to Luis Diaz.
Luis Diaz, the danger man, the man who got the equalizer for Bayern a few moments ago. Looked so sharp, but of course he didn't play in the second half in Paris because he was sent off. And that's a yellow card for Stanisic there. I wonder what happened there. The ball coming off a Union player because Stanisic was asking for a penalty there, but there was no handball. It hit the Union defender's face. And it's going to be a corner to Bayern Munich to be taken over that far-hand side. That's the Bayern Munich left. Joshua Kimmich, he's the man for the set pieces for Bayern. raises his arm. Joshua Kimmich taking his time with this. And the drums still beat in Berlin. In it comes. It falls to Tar. Tar pulls it back to Diaz. Diaz tries a 1-2 with Olise. Doesn't come off. It's picked up by Konrad Laimer. The ball played in the penalty area to Tar, and his shot hits the side netting there. And Bayern can regroup as they try to take a goal kick. Diego Leite, he looks tired there, Bouba. Did you see the expression on his face?
Right.
It must be so tiring to play against
It
Bayern.
It is not an easy task to play against a team like Bayern, for sure.
So Stanisic on a yellow card now. It's been a relatively quiet game for Frederick Runo. Borussia Dortmund have taken the lead in Hamburg, and it is Kane Chukwuemeka, the English-Nigerian there, who signed from Chelsea, 1-0 to Dortmund in Hamburg. And so many players of African descent in that game too, or of African ties. They've got Mohamed Omari, he's from the Comoros. Jordan Tolunariga, he's Nigerian. This is Hamburg, of course. Abuka Sumaharo, he's French-Ivorian. And one of the best players of the season so far, Jean-Luc Dompe, he's French-Malian. Albert Sambi Lukonga, he's Belgian-Congolese. And Bakary Jatta, he's from the Gambia. And we mustn't forget Alexander Russing Lelzit, he's Kenyan-Norwegian. And Robert Glatzel, he's of Hamburg too. He's German-Eritrean. Not too many players from Eritrea in the Bundesliga. And we mustn't forget Yusuf Poulsen, the Danish Tanzanian, on Hamburg's books there. And Hamburg, though, a goal down against Serhou Guirassy and Benzibaini. And Kane Chukwuemeka, the scorer there for Borussia Dortmund. Tom Alten. Just look at those supporters, Bouba. I bet you wish you were there.
I wish I were there. That is such a lively corner there. Or a lively side of the stadium in Berlin.
Well, it's been a lively performance by Union. But Bayern, of course, the better side. I mean, there's no doubt about it. But the effort that Union have put into this game has been tremendous. Here comes Konrad Laimer on the ball. Laimer plays it in the penalty area, cleared by Union. Can they possibly stop Bayern's winning run? Here's Goretzka. Goretzka plays the ball to his left, picked up by Luis Diaz. That man with so much skill tries to play the ball to Lennart Karl, and his back heel didn't come off there. And the support from Union Berlin continues to thunder down from the terraces. Upamecano plays the ball out to Konrad Laimer. He finds Olise. He finds Lennart Karl. Here's Goretzka. Goretzka in midfield. That's where he belongs. Plays it to his left to Jonathan Tah. Jonathan Tah plays it out to the left there to Luis Diaz. Luis Diaz back to Tah. He finds Upamecano in the centre circle. This is the Bayern Munich football. This is how they tire the opposition, by keeping possession for long phases of time and playing this very high press. But Diego Leite concentrating well, but not well enough, because he gives the ball away to Konrad Laimer. Laimer finds Lennart Karl on the edge of the penalty area. Lennart Karl plays it to Stanisic, and the ball beaten away by Elias Ansah. Here he comes. Elias Ansah. It's all about releasing the ball earlier, Elias Ansah. He's so eager. He's got to find his teammates who are maybe in a better position than he is, but he's had a really good game, the young German Ghanaian there. As we see Vincent Kompany off his seat there. He looks, well, very agitated, shall we say. He can sense that his team haven't got the result they may want to.
That's right. But I tell you what, Alex, Bayern has never lost a match to Union Berlin since they've been playing against Union since the promotion of Union to the Bundesliga. They haven't lost. They've won all of their matches. So could this be the first day where Bayern comes to a draw or lose? We have to wait and see until the end of this second half.
I think Union would be very happy with a point here. It will be the first game that stops Bayern's tremendous run. They've equaled their own run under Pep Guardiola. So many games, 16 games undefeated. They did that when Pep Guardiola was managing them. Here's Harry Kane. Harry Kane leads the ball across to Kimmich. Kimmich finds Lima. Lima on the edge of the penalty area, lifts it in the penalty area. Ansah's there, chests it down. Opportunity for Union to break, but they gave the ball away again. Now, Bayern, I notice, are playing more and more of the high press, and that, of course, is problematic for any side. Two players coming on. One is Alex Kral, and the other one is Juranovic. Ansah taken off, which surprises me. I thought he was Union's liveliest striker, but Juranovic coming on. He's a Croatian who used to play for Celtic Glasgow, and Aljosha Kemline coming off. Is it a double substitution?
It's a double substitute, but actually, I don't think Ansah is coming off.
Okay, that would have surprised me, really.
Yeah, I don't think Ansah is coming off. This is...
Yes, Ansah's kept on the pitch. Well,
yeah,
that would have made no sense for me to take him off. So Habara is off. On comes Juranovic, fresh legs. And Alex Kral, he comes on for Aljosha Kemline. Let's see what Union can do with fresh legs. Alex Kral, Czech Republic, used to play for Espanyol Barcelona. He's been here a long time, though, on for Aljosha Kemline. Can the fresh legs help them? Let's see. Plenty of time remaining for both sides. Don't forget, Bayern have won the German title 34 times, 16 competitive wins this term. Can Union stop this one? Here's Michael Olise. Good work by Alex Kral. Hammers the ball out of the fence. I think that's what you must do when you're playing Bayern. Here's Lima. Lima on the edge of the penalty area. Lima plays it back to Olise. Olise trying to take on Tom Water. Good work by Olise. Gets the ball across. Played out of the fence, but Bayern keep up the pressure. And there is a good effort by Leon Goretzka, but it goes over the crossbar. Don't forget, Union Berlin, they've played Bayern 12 times in the Bundesliga. They've never beaten them. Bayern have won 8 of these games. 4 games ending in a draw. Will this one end in a draw? Still plenty of time for either side to win it. It's been a quiet game for Harry Kane, quite frankly. 12 goals and 4 assists in 9 Bundesliga games till now. Bayern's last defeat, incidentally, was back in March when they lost to Bochum. Bochum, who are now in Division 2. And when the last European side to beat them was Inter Milan, when they won in the Champions League by 2-1 last April. Inter Milan going on to reach the final in Munich, which they lost 5-0 to Paris Saint-Germain. PSG picking up their first Champions League title. Probably won't be their last. That was a pull on Michael Olise, and it's a free kick. Tom Walter there pulling Olise's arm. It's going to be a free kick to Bayern Munich in a relatively dangerous position.
That was not necessary for Tom Rote to do.
He wasn't in a dangerous position, was he?
Not at all. And Olise, of course, is always dangerous, but the ball was not going in the direction of the box. So it was not necessary to pull him down.
Dangerous position. Free kick to be taken by Joshua Kimmich into the penalty area. Headed away, though, by Union. Picked up over on that far side by Luis Diaz, the man who got the equalizer, and he plays it all the way back to look at Manuel Neuer. He's almost in the centre circle. And that shows us that Bayern are beginning to play their feared high press. With so much space behind their defence, it just makes you wonder why teams are unable to exploit that very high line that Bayern play. They're basically in the centre circle, the Bayern defenders, Here comes Goretzka. He finds Lima. Lima on the ball. He finds Olise. Olise cuts inside. Olise waking up now, showing a little bit more interest in the game. Here's Olise once more. All the Union Berlin defenders back. Not just the defenders, everybody getting behind the ball, which is quite right.
And this is what Union Berlin is known for. It's a really good side when it comes to defending, and that's what they're doing right now. I tell you what, Alex, it's going to be a hard day for Bayern to get through that Union's defense.
They got to keep that concentration, of course, Union. Can they stop this incredible run of 16 wins in all competitions for Bayern this season, equaling Pep Guardiola's Bayern, who did that some years ago. Here's Olise, who's seen a lot of the ball in this second half. Olise does well, plays it across Upamecano, and the support, Bouba, is just amazing.
It is. The stadium is very loud, and it's a small stadium, so of course, that sound in the stadium is incredibly
It reminds
loud.
me a little bit of Hoffenheim Stadium.
Right.
And the noise in this Hoffenheim Stadium. They've only got 15,000 at Hoffenheim.
Right.
But they make so much row, so much noise.
Right. The stadium in Sinsheim, which is not really in Hoffenheim, because Hoffenheim, the village itself, is a super small one.
Lennart Karl plays the ball across. Been a quiet game for Lennart Karl. Here's Olise. Olise lays it forward to Lennart Karl there. And that was Lima. And out comes Runo. I think that's the first time that Fredrik Runo has been called upon, quite frankly.
That's right. It's the only time in the second half where Runo had to struggle to get the ball this time around against Konrad Lima, the Austrian international.
Don't forget, Bayern's last defeat to the Bundesliga was back in March when they lost to Bochum, who are sadly in Division 2 at the moment. Here comes Alex Kral, the Czech player for Union Berlin, lays across to Tom Water. Water, can he take on the Bayern Munich defenders? Does well. Water, early cross. That's more like it. They can't afford to lose possession in dangerous positions. And Lennart Karl chasing the ball, but it's played back to Runo. Well, let me put it this way, Bouba. Bayern Munich look like mortals today. They look like...
That's right.
Players who are just having a hard game.
Well, it's understandable that they've got to keep things a bit low. Otherwise, they would be exhausted.
Yeah, and it's early days. We're only in November.
It is.
And if you want to win the Champions League, you've got to peak in April and May.
That's right. And, next week we have the international break.
Most of their players will be called up to their respective teams.
And I don't know, this football season is, let's see what happens after the holidays. It's going to be tough for these players. Maybe they'll get some time during the holidays in December that they get to rest a little bit.
Bayern Munich, they face Freiburg next. Home game against Freiburg. And that is, of course, without being unfair to Freiburg, that is should be an easy game for them in 2 weeks' time. But it's not an easy game for them today, I could tell you that. Hoffenheim have now gone 3-1 up, and that, for me, is a big surprise. Prömmel scoring there for Hoffenheim, making it Hoffenheim 3, Leipzig 1. So Leipzig's brilliant run coming to an end there. Grisha Prömmel is a player, of course, used to play here at Union Berlin.
That's right.
Very much at Hoffenheim. More substitutions, more fresh legs, as we see Oliver Burke coming off.
3 changes there. Rote is also coming out. Tom Rote is coming out. And now finally we see Ilas Ansar also coming off.
Derek Kern is coming on. Ansar, who's had a good game, I think. Derek Kern, the German Ghanaian, coming on. And I'll tell you in a minute. Woo Jeong, he's the South Korean. He's on for the remainder of this game. So Kuhn on for Orte, Skarke on for Ansa, and Jeong on for Oliver Burke. So, what will this mean for Union, Bouba?
We have to see. We have to see. It's a very difficult game to predict at this stage. Looks like Union are getting a bit tired. Just as I predicted at the beginning, they're going to give it their all. And this is what Bayern wanted. Drag the game a little bit more to a point where Union feels like they're giving up.
So they made
to start.
All their 5 substitutions.
That's
Union.
right.
Derek Kuhn coming on. Let's see what he can do on the wing. Tim Skarke, he's a central striker. And Woo Jeong, the South Korean, who actually spent some time on Bayern Munich's books. Never really made the breakthrough there. And so plenty of fresh legs for Union. We just have to wait and see what they can make out of all these substitutions. Always relatively risky to make so many substitutions. Leverkusen still 6-0 up against Heidenheim. Leipzig have now pulled the goal back, but Hoffenheim still lead. Romelu, their Brazilian striker, making it Hoffenheim 3, Romelu. Leipzig 2, the Brazilian scoring there. And that will be a big surprise for me if Leipzig were to lose this one. Borussia Dortmund still 1-0 up in Hamburg. Hamburg really struggling, and things not really looking good for Hamburg. They are just a few points. Well, they're actually just 2 points off the relegation playoff place. And if Mönchengladbach were to win, that would be in the late kickoff against Cologne. That would mean problems for Hamburg and Augsburg and St. Pauli just ahead of Mönchengladbach. As the support for Union Berlin continues to thunder down from the terraces. It's a 1-1 scoreline. They've made it a really difficult afternoon for Bayern Munich. Bouba, we mustn't forget, this is Bayern Munich.
This is Bayern Munich for sure. And at this stage, they're just going to press. It will be a difficult day for Union. But they've brought in some fresh legs, and this fresh leg might add some momentum to the team. Help Union defend against Bayern. Of course, Union are known to be a good side when it comes to their defense, and this is what they're doing right now. As we see Woo Jeong, the South Korean, pushing forward, Union on the offensive.
Kuhn pushed down there, Derek Kuhn.
Derek Kuhn, of course, the Ghanaian from Galatasaray.
Yeah, had a spell in Turkey. Talking about Galatasaray, did you see Victor Osimhen's hat-trick for Galatasaray in the Champions League? That was some performance. With all due respect to the Turkish league, but you just wonder how a top-class striker like Victor Osimhen wasn't snapped up by a big European club.
The thing for me about the Turkish league, one of the reasons why I really respect the league is because of the fans.
Yeah.
The Turkish fans, they are just phenomenal.
It's a bit like the Union.
That's right. A lot of them, they're just crazy. If Fenerbahce plays against Galatasaray, the whole of Istanbul is gridlock.
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
Opportunity here. Union Berlin have scored! Union Berlin have scored! And it's Turkey once more! And the Bayern Munich defence was all over the place there. The ball was bouncing around, and Danilo Durkee gets his second card, second goal, 2-1. Bouba, are we going to witness some history today?
That is something I did not expect.
Oh, it could be offside again. What do you think? Could it be offside?
Maybe that particular first attempt there could have been offside, but let's see. If there is no, we have to see.
Diego Leite maybe was offside. The ball fell to Durkee. He just swung his boot at it, and it beat Manuel Neuer. Harry Kane heading the ball right to Danilo Durkee. Let's see if that goal's going to stand or not. It will be cruel on Union Berlin to have a second goal ruled out for offside. It stands. It stands, Bouba.
It stands.
Your team are 2-1 up.
Union are leading Bayern 2-1. Who would have thought? Who saw this coming?
6 minutes of normal time remaining here. Bayern are 2-1 down, and could their amazing run be coming to an end?
If it does come to it, it would make a massive news across Germany, across Europe, as the whole of the football world look forward to Bayern with this incredible team. Dominating football across Europe right now.
Enjoying themselves because they've moved up now to within 4 points behind Bayern Munich. But quite frankly, Borussia Dortmund aren't going to challenge Bayern, are they?
It always looks like that. It's like towards beginning of the season, mid-season, you go like, Borussia Dortmund, they're going to catch up with Bayern. But until the last end of the season.
But they don't.
And then they move from flop to flop and flop. Yeah. It's just crazy. That's why I don't get my hopes too high.
But you can get your hopes high today for your team, Bouba, because they're 2-1 up against Bayern Munich, and that is sensational news.
Absolutely sensational. And I'm pretty sure even the Union fans are not, they don't believe what they see right now. This Bayern team, leading this Bayern team 2-1, this is not something that any of them expected. Imagine this is the team that beat Chelsea. The club World Cup champions.
This is the team that beat
PSG.
Opportunity
the Champions League champions.
It's not over, of course, and it was offside there. And for a moment, it looked like Bayern Munich were going to get the equalizer. But great defending there. 11 against 11 today. Bayern may be tired after that game against Paris, where they had to play the whole second half with 10 players. But of course, as Vincent Kompany says, they often play with more players than the opposition in training. So that was not really anything new to them. And what a game that was. And what a game this is here today.
I think at this stage, Union have to be careful. If they continue to play the way they play right now, they might lose grip of the back because they are good at defending, and they should focus on that. And then let their forwards, Woo Young-jeong and Derek Kane, put all the pressure for them there. Hopefully, they might get another goal or actually stop Bayern from scoring.
Well, maybe he should have rested a few players, Vincent Kompany. I mean, he's rested Joshua Kimmich only twice this season. And Kimmich, of course, always wants to play. But I remember quite a few Bayern players going down with cramp in Paris on Tuesday. That second half must have exhausted them. And maybe the B team would have performed better, but who's to say? Who's to say? It's been a really enthusiastic performance by Union Berlin. So some records could be broken here. This could be Union Berlin's first ever victory against Bayern, and this could be Bayern's first defeat this season. But don't let's get ahead of ourselves, Bouba. This is Bayern Munich.
And this is Bayern Munich, and we've still got about 3 minutes of not regular time to play.
Yeah, they
opportunity for Union Berlin.
Plenty of space there, and he really... Hey, that was a very optimistic effort by Juranovic. He was way out, and he tried to beat Neuer, but it sailed over the crossbar. Here comes Nicholas Jackson, the Senegalese international, getting ready to come on for number 44, and that is Josef Stanisic. So Kompany taking off a defender and bringing on Nicholas Jackson, the Senegalese international there. This his 8th Bundesliga appearance, 24 caps for Senegal, Nicholas Jackson, 2 goals in the Champions League, so 3 goals in total for Bayern. Let's see if Jackson can help save the day for Munich. Yellow card there, not really sure to whom. Who got the yellow card there, Bouba?
It looks like this is a yellow card to Union Berlin.
Danilo Durkee maybe, or Harry Kane. I'm not really sure who got the yellow card there. But
yeah,
the news...
I think it's the reaction from Danilo Durkee, so that does go to that yellow card is against Daniel Udoki.
Well, 2 minutes of normal time remaining. Nicholas Jackson is on alongside Harry Kane. And everybody was expecting Nicholas Jackson to start. Actually, Germany's leading newspaper Kicker, they printed the lineup minutes before the kickoff, and Nicholas Jackson's name was on it. Everybody thought he'd rest Harry Kane, but in the end, the lineup came, and we saw Kane did start for Nicholas Jackson, but they're now both on the pitch. Not very long to go, though. Here come Bayern Munich. This is Upamecano, who's had a brilliant game. He finds Joshua Kimmich. Joshua Kimmich finds Olise. Michael Olise cuts inside. That's he loves to do. Olise slips the ball forward, trying to pick out Jackson, but it's picked up by Union Berlin. Here they come, swarming forward. Tim Starker there, and Bayern pick it up again. This is Lennart Karl, plays the ball to his left, finds Diaz. Diaz finds Jonathan Tah. He finds Olise. Olise on the ball, going forward. He's got Alex Kral in front of him, the Czech Republic international. Here's Kimmich, cuts inside as well. Long ball in the penalty area. This is what Bayern do very much. They cut inside from the right-hand side and lift the ball into the penalty area. Here's Michael Olise. Michael Olise finds Pavlovic, but Pavlovic, long ball forward, trying to test Manuel Neuer, who was way out of his goal there. That shows the confidence of this Union side.
That's right, but this is a regular play by Manuel Neuer. Whenever Bayern is pushing, really pressing really hard, Manuel Neuer tends to leave the box towards the center circle. He does that all the time, and this time around, I think he got lucky and he got away with it.
Jonathan Tah finds Upamecano. These are well-rehearsed moves by Bayern. We've seen them time and time again. I can tell you what's going to happen now. Here's Nicholas Jackson on the edge of the penalty area. Nicholas Jackson with his back to the opposition. Good pass to Lennart Karl, but Lennart Karl, quite frankly, too small to get past Querfeld or Tom Walter. Lennart Karl retrieves possession, though. He finds Tah. Tah finds Pavlovic. Pavlovic with a chance. And collision of bodies there, but play on, says the referee. No chance of a penalty for Bayern.
No chance indeed, and what a play there.
We've got 5 minutes of added time, Bouba. Are your side going to win it?
That is a 5 tough minutes for Union Berlin tonight.
Well, it could be a tough 5 minutes for Bayern Munich too.
That's right, but they are pressing so hard right now, and obviously they're hoping for an equalizer here before the day ends, as Josip Juranovic takes in that throw in.
And the support from the terraces is like from the very first minute, non-stop, that guy beating the drum.
Right, there is no tiring at Stadion at the Alten Försterei in Berlin, Köpenick area. Obviously, Union Berlin are having an awesome day today by leading Bayern by 2-1 and hoping to keep this particular result towards the end, as we see Stefan Baumgart on the touchline pressing his players to keep defending. We see two lines formed at the back, red and white.
Well organized.
Well organized, making sure that the black and white have no way through that defense.
Good work by Querfeld, but it's picked up by Pavlovic. He feeds Luis Diaz, who's had a quiet second half after that brilliant goal in the first. Luis Diaz taking on the defenders. He finds Tah. Tah lays it across to Pavlovic. Pavlovic switches sides, plays it across to Michael Olise. Olise, is there one more goal left for Bayern? He plays the ball in the penalty area, trying to pick out Jackson. It comes to Luis Diaz. Diaz, long ball in the penalty area. Harry Kane! Harry Kane spoils the party for Union Berlin.
Harry Kane's the usual.
Kane, with a strong header, makes it 2-2.
Right.
Harry Kane gets his 13th goal of the season. But look at these supporters just continue singing and beating that drum.
It doesn't stop. But Harry Kane is the party pooper in Berlin today.
He certainly is. 2-2.
It's not going to make Berlin fans happy.
Strong header. He was unmarked. Where was Leopold Querfeld there? left him out of his sight for a few seconds, and Harry Kane stole in front of Bruno and headed the ball strongly into the back of the net. It's 2-2, and Vincent Kompany, he wants more.
He wants more. Of course, you could expect more because Bayern is a dangerous side and they can score at any time and they can change the style of play at any time. This particular Bayern side that we've seen under Vincent Kompany, they are capable, they can take any form, any shape at any time. This is a really formidable side, Bayern Munich.
Long ball into the penalty area, but out comes Bruno. But let's not forget, Bouba, a 2-2 result would still be a big success for Bayern.
It is a success for Bayern. It means they still go unbeaten for 17 games, but like winning 16 maybe.
Would still be a great result for them.
Right, as we see.
But Bayern want the victory.
Right, as we see. Borussia Dortmund also conceding a goal there. Hamburg
coming back. Hamburg coming back, 1-1. That is some game in Hamburg. Hamburg 1, Borussia Dortmund 1. Königsdorfer, the German Ghanaian there, with the brilliant second name of Yeboah. Yeboah Königsdorfer making it 1-1. And what an important goal it is for Hamburg and for Bayern, because suddenly things changing at the top of the table. Bayern Munich, they've got about 1 minute left here, or 30 seconds to be more precise. Here comes Kimmich, and they're not happy with the draw. They want to win. They want this amazing run to continue. This is Pavlovic. He finds Tar. Tar going forward. Jackson and Kane lurking in the centre there. Luis Diaz. It's all about concentration now for Union Berlin. Here's Upamecano.
Union got to keep calm, make sure the 20 seconds is wasted on that attack.
Referee allowing play to continue, although time is up. 5 minutes of added time are over. Here's Harry Kane. Danger, Harry Kane! And the ball taking a deflection.
It's a corner kick.
It's a Bayern corner. Can Union hang on? That would mean so much to them. And Bouba, it would mean so much to the Bundesliga, wouldn't it?
That's right.
The rest of the Bundesliga, should we say.
That's right. This is a record-breaking day here today. If Bayern gets that goal in, then Vincent Kompany would have broken the record of his former boss,
Pep Guardiola.
That's right.
But at the moment, it's Joshua Kimmich that we're watching. He's going to take the corner from the left-hand side. In it comes, and the header over the crossbar.
Yeah!
And appeals there, not really know why. And it's a free kick to Union Berlin. And surely there goes the final whistle. Well, it's been a mammoth performance by Union Berlin.
That's right.
And Bayern's winning run comes to an end.
It is a tough day. It's been a tough day for Union Berlin. Keeping Bayern at bay at just 2-2. Bayern got lucky, if I can say that. They get lucky by picking up a point from Union Berlin. It would have been a disastrous day. But thanks to Harry Kane, who saved the day by equalizing with a perfect header.
What a game, Bouba. I'm exhausted.
I'm also exhausted. I am exhausted by speaking so loud, and I'm also exhausted with emotions. Of course, you all know me. I'm a fan of Union Berlin, and it's always been like that.
The noise from the crowd was amazing from the first minute to the second. Bayern are complaining about something that we're not sure about. When that corner by Joshua Kimmich came in the dying seconds of this game, they started to protest about something. Not really sure, but that's not going to change because the final score is
It's over.
Union Berlin 2, Bayern 2.
That's right.
What a game, Bouba. What a noisy stadium. Union Berlin gave Bayern the toughest match of the season till now, didn't they?
They did. I think this has been Bayern's toughest match day since this season. Of course, we are in match day 10 of the Bundesliga. And Bayern have had a formidable performance this season. After they struggled a bit going through different coaches and having not necessarily having Vincent Kompany as their choice number 1, or number 2, or number 3. He was choice number 5. But then he made so much of a difference with the Bayern team.
Who would have thought that?
Who would have thought Vincent Kompany, the man from, I'll call him, spent some time in England, but of course, he is
at Manchester City.
At Manchester City.
At Burnley as a coach.
That's right.
Won promotion with Burnley and got relegated with Burnley. And nobody thought he'd make such a formidable team.
That's right.
But I'm not good in maths. Now, have they broken Pep Guardiola's Bayern side record or not? I'm not really sure. They would have had to have won this
If
one.
they have won this, there would have been 17 games in a row to beat that 16 winning streak.
But as they didn't.
They didn't. This is a draw, so...
Both on 16. Pep Guardiola's Bayern and Kompany's Bayern. And knowing Bayern, they'll be very angry with themselves for not winning.
That's right. And I think Kompany has to look for a different type of record now to break.
Yeah.
Not this one.
Goodness me, I am amazed at the amount of energy that Union Berlin put into this game. And not just them, but their supporters, their over 20,000 supporters. This is a small stadium. It's so noisy. And the guy with the drum, he's broken my ears.
That's
but
right.
He deserves a prize.
He does deserve it. And look at the stadium. Usually in stadiums when the match ends, like half of the stadium is already gone. But not at the Alten Försterei.
Well, they must be very impressed.
The fans standing there, of course, greeting their players, excited for them.
I mean,
and still singing and dancing.
Still singing. Well, they can be very proud of this performance.
That's right.
2-2 against Bayern, and minutes from winning it. They could easily
Few
have won it.
minutes.
Kane coming in with a header there. Querfeld must be so disappointed, the young Austrian, because he marked him out of the game for 90 minutes. And then Kane in the 93rd minute stealing behind Querfeld and getting the equalizer with a strong header. That was tough luck on Union Berlin. And,
right.
Goodness me. It's as it's frustrating, we still tend to forget the amazing performance that Union Berlin put in. They'll be disappointed because they were so close to beating them. But the disappointment mustn't be magnified because it was a very good performance. I mean, they've been struggling for consistency all through the season. And this 22,000 crowd here, spectators enjoying every minute of it. Union, when you think just one win in their last 5 games, and they were so close to beating Bayern. It's really cruel, Bouba, isn't it?
It is very, very cruel. But I can tell you for sure, another game where the fans might be really annoyed. I mean, Union fans might go home today happy, even though Harry Kane got an equalizer for Bayern and they only picked up a point. But Borussia Dortmund's fans might be super, super mad because they considered a goal at, here it is out, 90 plus 7 minutes. 90 plus 7 minutes. That's when Ranford Yeboah Königsdorfer equalized for HSV or HSV Hamburg. 1-1
there.
Yeah.
Disappointing result for Dortmund.
Disappointing result. And also a disappointing result. No one thought, I didn't even expect this, that Hoffenheim would be beating RB Leipzig by 3-1. This for me was like, actually my bet was 1-3.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Leipzig, for me, have been the second best side in the Bundesliga this season, haven't they?
That's right.
They got hammered by Hoffenheim, but Leipzig still remain in second, but Bouba, 6 points behind Bayern.
Right. And it tells you something that these teams that get to play in Champions League, once they come back after the Champions League matches, they come back into the Bundesliga
Exhausted.
they're exhausted.
Yeah.
Because the level at which they play at the Champions League is so high and it's so intense.
Yeah.
They
You can't compare it to,
that's right.
to the local
look at
leagues.
it. Dortmund, a flop today. Bayern, a flop.
Well,
Kinda.
yeah.
But it is a flop.
For them, yeah.
Losing to, equalizing to a side like Union, I consider it a flop. For a Bayern team, which is considered to be one of the best at the moment across Europe. So this is a flop to them. And then, look at, all right, we have some technical issues there, but we've still got 10 minutes to go. So we will keep you entertained.
I mean, that Hamburg won, Dortmund won. Hats off to Hamburg.
That's right.
Because Hamburg have been in very poor form. They're in 12th, and they're only 3 points off the relegation playoff place, Hamburg there. And I think they did very well in getting the draw there against Borussia Dortmund, who have been leapfrogged by Leipzig during the afternoon, in spite of Leipzig losing 3-1. Now, who would have thought that would have happened?
Right.
But Leipzig then 6 points behind Bayern, and Dortmund 7 points behind Bayern. Leverkusen with a mammoth result, 6-0 winners against Heidenheim there in 4th place. But I mean, let's be honest, Bouba. In spite of Bayern, shall we say, struggling today, they've got a very healthy lead, haven't they?
They do. And of course, with their top striker, their Harry Kane, 13 goals so far in the season. So they are leading there. And but I tell you who's leading if you look at the stats for the assist, that would be Fares Chaibi from Eintracht Frankfurt.
In terms of assists.
In terms of assists right now. And the fastest man in the Bundesliga at this stage is a man from Union Berlin, Oliver Burke, with 36 points.
Wow. So he's overtaken Bahoya.
That's right.
Jean-Matteo Bahoya, the French Cameroonian who was of Eintracht Frankfurt. He's been the fastest player. So now Oliver Burke.
Oliver Burke so far in the season.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
I never saw him coming. So, I mean, when you think of it, Union Berlin, they failed to score in their last 2 Bundesliga games. They lost 1-0 in Bremen, and they drew 0-0 in a very boring match with Freiburg last week. And they managed to score 2 today.
I have to give credit, though, to Stefan Baumgart, who I think understands the mentality of Bayern and all of these big clubs. So every team he's coached, and I remember when he was at Cologne, every time Cologne played against any of the big teams like Bayern, they performed well. And I see Union performing well against Bayern as well today.
But the thing is, will they perform well against smaller clubs too?
They usually don't.
That's the problem.
That's the problem.
Consistency, lack of consistency.
Right.
Look at the game coming up, Bouba. Mönchengladbach against Cologne. That is a big, big derby. Mönchengladbach in the relegation playoff place with 6 points in 16th place. Cologne doing well for a promoted side in 8th. How do you see that one going?
I think it's going to be a tough one. But I would put it to Cologne because of the likes of, El Mala, the new young star, who is incredibly energetic right now. That's why but you never know. You never know what would happen because it looks like there's a little bit of energy being injected.
Yeah, Mönchengladbach, of course.
Mönchengladbach
getting their first win of the season last week when they won 3-0 at St. Pauli. Yeah, and let me just remind you, Freiburg plays St. Pauli on Sunday. Stuttgart face Augsburg and Frankfurt take on Mainz. That's another really big derby there, Frankfurt and Mainz. But the big game today was Union Berlin against Bayern Munich, and it finished 2-2 after a fantastic performance, should we say, by both teams? Because
by both teams,
Union Berlin were so motivated, and Bayern was so tired after the Paris Saint-Germain game, but they still put up a great fight, and that game finishing 2-2.
That's right, and I didn't expect Union to actually sit deep and just defend. They pressed really hard. They had, you know, they are one of the top strikers. They are doing extremely well in getting Union that equalizer. Well, that's it for us on this match day 10 of the Bundesliga. My name is Bouba Jalloh.
I'm Alex Sisto. I hope you enjoyed all the thrills and spills from the Bundesliga. Catch you in 2 weeks' time because of the international break.
DW.
Bye for now.
Made for minds.